using my power to rise stronger after each fall, overcoming all obstacles and taking one step after the other to reach my goals. Choosing to grow, change, and write my own story with the help of those that walk on the same path. This is resilience in action.
Hi, thank you so much for being with us again. My name is Jolie Chaires. This is Resilience in Action. And as always, with Dr. Emilia O'Neill. How are you, Emilia?
Doing great. How are you? How is everybody? Very excited. And well, my husband is coming next week, so I'm very happy. And just planning and trying to close the year the best way possible, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. We are about to finish 2024, and we are going to be talking about that, how to be prepared to end this year, like you just said, the way best possible after chaos. After chaos. But
Right.
we're going to start, as always, with that reflection.
Yes, let's just take a deep breath and close our eyes. Just look down and remember, this is a time for you. This is the opportunity that you can give yourself to remember things you already know, to review your strengths, to learn new things perhaps that you can share later on. So just give yourself permission to be present during these few minutes that we share together. And just take another deep breath. And now that we are present, let's start. Open your eyes. And let's start with our summary of 2024.
No, I cannot start with that. We will need like the whole night at least to talk about that, and like a very huge pot of coffee. But we are going to share with you how we can prepare to end the year and not just be moving around our heads like, oh, what I did wrong, what I didn't do this year. Instead of that, to focus on things that we actually have with us and can carry with us to 2025. And then to the next episode, we will share with you how to set those goals. But for now, we have a list of things that you can be like analyzing one by one, and run for a notebook, please.
Yes, the idea is to organize our thoughts into sections, if you will. And we're talking about that notebook. We were talking about it in another show where we say if we take notes of the things that we hear, of the things that we learn during the day, the things that are important for us, those moments that make a difference, it turns into a wonderful book, if you will. I was sharing that there was back when we had the radio show, Yoli, we had 2 programs a week, and we talked about all kinds of subjects related to family, related to mental health, to emotional wellness. And I was doing consulting for this company, and I was in the place waiting for the director to come out, and this man was looking at me with a very, how can I say, very intensely, no? And
Was staring.
at first, I didn't know what that meant, but I finally got a little nervous, and so I acknowledged his presence. No, I said hello, and he asked if I was Dr. Emilia. I said yes, and he said, "Please don't leave. I need to bring something from the car." I said, "Okay." So he came back, and he had this notebook, almost full of notes, and he says, "I want to show you what my wife and I do every time you guys are in the air, no, on the air, where we write all the advice that you give, all the notes that you ask us to take note of, and I want to tell you that during this past year you have changed our lives." So for me, that's one of the biggest gifts I have received ever, professionally speaking. And that's why I'm sharing what has helped other people. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, and just take notes of anything that can help you during this show that you can use to improve your life or to share with others that can make them feel better. So let's start with that, with those sections that we're talking about today, okay? So the first section we're talking about is the things that I learned. In this section, it is very important for us to acknowledge the things that we did right, the successes that we had, all of our achievements. They go hand in hand, no? When we're looking at the things that I learned, we're going to look at achievements and we're going to look at I'm going to say failures, but I don't like the word very much. It's saying I use my abilities, I use my strengths, I use my wisdom to achieve all these things this year, and I did great. And these things didn't go so well, but instead of looking at them as failures, I am going to look at them as opportunities to learn what I did that was not so good and what I did that still worked. You know? So it's two things with these failures. Where's the opportunity to change? Where's the opportunity to learn new things so that what I want to achieve can be achieved? I hope this is making sense. No, so maybe I tried a new, I don't know, type of exercise, let's say, but I got so hurt because it was not my thing that I feel like I failed and that I am not good at exercise at all. And instead of thinking like that, it's saying, you know what? Wait, maybe I'm not that good at, I don't know,
CrossFit?
bicycling, but I may be better at swimming. So what is it that I can try, and what abilities do I bring with me that I can do better at another sport? No, so that's just an example. And of course, with your achievements is what is it that I did along the way to succeed? What strengths did I use? What abilities did I use? How did I develop these abilities in order to succeed and achieve my goals? No? So very important to look at those. What do you think?
I think I need to dive like way, way deep inside of me. And not because I don't know. It's just that with learning experiences, if they are not academic, I think they need an like a more deep analyzing, because if it is a simple situation that happened in my daily life, maybe I didn't notice that I learned actually something. And that's why I'm saying like I need to dive deep inside. However, I think that those are the learning experiences. They are the most significant sometimes, because that's why sometimes we miss them. So, but I think they left us this emotion or this feeling. Like maybe right now I don't remember, but if I start to thinking in January or maybe in May, in another month, I am going to feel something, and it's going to take me there to that moment that something happened and I learned something. And this is just one of the things. Of course, we learn every day a lot of things, but
And
sometimes we don't realize it.
yeah, that would be the invitation, right, for this exercise. It's not only to do it now in December, but you're talking about simple things, no? I think every single thing is important. You were saying a while ago, you were talking about, well, it's not only academic, no? Like I achieved my master's or my PhD or a certificate or something. I think those are just as important for you as it is to earn a Nobel Prize, no? Because that's your life, it's your unique experience, and it's taking the time to say, what is it that I did? Maybe you spend long hours studying after work, or you have a family and you still manage to study for those classes in order to graduate. And maybe you have a job right now that is hard to keep, no? Because nowadays jobs are not easy to get and not easy to keep. So it's looking at what it is that you're doing day by day And this exercise will help you do that, to say, even if I don't like to get up early in the morning, I am getting up early in the morning to go to work. That's an achievement. I know it sounds very simplistic, but it's going from the small ones to the huge ones, because it is thanks to the small steps that you take that you achieve the big goal, right? And the same thing goes for the failures and for the losses. No, sometimes along the way and during this year, we may have lost people we loved. We may have lost a job. We may have lost a relationship, or we may have lost an expectation. No, I expected to be in this job forever or for 10 years, and then they come in and they say, well, guess what? No, we're closing the company, and you're losing your job. So not only did you lose your job, but your expectation or your plan. So it's saying, how can I learn from these and say, nothing is permanent. I gave my best, and I can move on with what I learned from this event or this experience, right?
And not only what I learned, but also what I kept. Because sometimes we feel that we lose something and we ended up with nothing. But if we review all that, we are going to see that we actually kept a lot of things from that. If it was a job, if it was a relationship, if it was just a bad year or a bad month, it doesn't matter. We kept something. And if we look through all the pain or the sadness or the disappointment that we felt, we are going to find in the middle of those things really nice things that I said, I kept that. After that, I still have that, or that thing, whatever you find there, which is very important, especially if we are dealing with a loss. If you are somebody that right now are experimenting something, I don't know, like depression or anxiety, there are things that we still have. And if we look just a little to the side, to the other side, and find them, will take us one step at least out of that feeling that we're having.
Of course, and it is in itself, doing that is an achievement. Saying, even though I feel so low and I feel so sad, I'm still getting up in the morning. I'm still being able to deal with my everyday chores, with work, with children, with life. So that is an achievement within that loss that you are experiencing. So when we talk about resilience, that's what we're talking about. Staying flexible, confronting adversity with everything you have, even when you're feeling really sad or really tired. I was sharing with someone, and we're talking about it, Yoli, that this week was particularly tough. And I was feeling that, like, my thoughts, my mind was really disorganized. And of course, when that happens, things happen, right? I lost my keys. I couldn't find them. I couldn't start my car. Then I lost my wallet. Then we had crisis at work. We had a bunch of things going on. And in the midst of chaos, remember we talked about it last week, we found, or I found that time to say, take a deep breath and try to reorganize. I found the keys when the light came back in Alaska. And I went back to the last store where I was, and I asked the manager if they had by any chance seen this wallet. And she said, oh yeah, somebody brought it. And what I got out of that was not only, of course, the relief, that my wallet was recovered, but that attitude or hope that I have always had for humanity, that somebody returned the wallet. It was not only about the cards or the cash or anything. It was about some mementos that I had there that were very important for me. So it was like feeling very grateful for it. So remember, in the midst of chaos comes order. If we take the time to breathe and to organize and to say, even if I have had losses this year, if I have had very bad times, I learned that I can deal with them. I learned that I am resilient, and I learned that I can also, very importantly, look around me and look at the people that made my success happen or that made this bad moment less sad or less tough, no? That's our next point here. It's look around you, because every time you have a success, you have someone to thank for their support, their time, their advice, their words of encouragement. It's something that will change our lives completely, because we were not born by ourselves, and even in the middle of ugly things, there's always somebody that is willing to smile for you, that is willing to say you can do it, that is willing to tell you, hey, you got this, no? Or I got your back, which is amazing, no? It's I think those words, that expression for me, I know it's a very common expression, but when someone says I got your back and means it, it changes my attitude completely. So please, in your review of this year, look at those people that were there for you. And if they are still around, send a note and say, thank you for what you did for me. Send a note saying, hey, you really made a difference in my life. It will change your life and it will change their lives as well, no?
And also, well, we always say resilience doesn't happen in solitude, right? So, but the fact that we can actually acknowledge these people that are with us in a moment, in a very difficult moment, make us feel so lighter than
So much
before.
better.
It
Absolutely.
3 years ago, my mom got really sick, and this week she had something that made me think that she was going back to that state 3 years ago. And I want to share this because it's something that it was a very resilient moment for me. And I know that a lot of us, we have had a family that is a family member that is not okay in health or in another way. And I remember 3 years ago when that happened, it was a very, very difficult time. But I found myself having these mixed emotions at that moment, because while I was in the middle of a really huge chaos, people that I don't speak like every day, that I don't talk to them every day, they started to like appear in my life and came and come in a message, people that doesn't live here, and they were telling me, what do you need? To feel that support for me was the bridge that helped me to cross it. And I know that I couldn't do what I did without them. So this week when that happened, I was like, and then I said, no, wait, I know that I am not alone, and I know that I can do things, and I know that there are people with me. And that was a reminder that I had to bring back to me, to not fall in chaos or chaos crisis, if you want to say it like that. And it was really important because I felt lighter and I could deal with the situation, not only for her, but for me to feel better, to not feel really badly after everything, and everything was fine.
Yeah.
But that is, for me, that is what it means that resilience doesn't happen in solitude. Because even though I can do things by myself, a lot of them, it's never the same. You do get faster there with somebody. And I always say thank you to that people. And if you're seeing this, thank you again. Emilia is one of them, always.
We're there for each other, right?
Yes.
And I think that connects me to our next point, where, you know, we always talk about be aware of those people that have done things for you, and express your gratitude, and be aware that, as you say, Yoli, resilience does not happen in solitude. No, we need each other. So the next point for this summary of 2024 in your list is, what did you do for others? Were you there for the people that are important for you? Were you there for the people I call them the invisible angels sometimes, no? Because these are the people that appear when they are needed. In terms of, oh, I see you, that you're there because we're having a crisis, no? So the psychologist, the therapist is there when somebody's having an emotional crisis. The firemen, the police, they appear when there's trouble. But also, last week, our in the building where I work, they left the doors open, the windows open. As you know, I'm in Alaska. We are at -40 sometimes, and the pipes burst. So that building flooded for 3 days, and you had to swim to your office pretty much, no? So plumbers were there, cleaning staff was there, and they did wonders. I mean, they solved this problem in 3 days, no? When we saw that, we said, no, it's gonna take weeks. So it's looking around you and saying, okay, what can I do for them, to thank them and to say, I see you. My husband last week called me. Every year we try to, make a donation, help somebody or an agency. And he said, how about this year I do it with the cleaning staff at the college? And he shared the story of these two people. They are older. They have been there forever. They have never owned a car, which if you're in the US, you know that can, that means a lot of obstacles and difficulties. So they walk to work every day. They don't make a lot of money, and they're not going through a good time. And my husband decided to make a donation, no, as a gift. And he put, some checks in envelopes, and he gave them to them. And the lady was in tears, and she said, nobody has ever done anything nice for us. And they have been there for 25 years. So she was crying, feeling so grateful. And then my husband was in tears, moved, because he said, I see them, no? And it was nice to do that for them. So what I always tell people is, if you do something good for another person, you will feel it in your heart. It will make you feel just as happy as when you receive a present, or as when somebody does something nice for you. So please look around and do your summary and say, did I give my time? Did I give my help? Did I share something I know to make somebody else's life better? What did you do for others? And this goes from your family, of course. Did you spend enough time with your children, with your spouse? Did you listen to a friend that was in distress? Did you give them that time? And did you share your advice or wisdom? Because we all have it, no? Sometimes we forget because we're too tired. That's a joke we have with my friends over here when they don't call and I call. No, I don't want to call you because you're so busy. I said, well, you're not giving me the chance to take your call. You're not giving me the chance to say, hey, I'm here. And if I'm busy, I'll call you back, no? But do it. Don't wait until it's too late, or don't wait until it's just a crisis. No, do it every day. Give your time. And if at the end of this list, you realize that you didn't do it as much as you would have liked to, or you got distracted and you didn't do it at all, that's a good thing to put in your new list next week when we start talking about goals, okay? We're going to have a great show next time, where we're going to be very specific about setting goals and actually meeting them.
That's the best part. The hope that I am going to achieve them. But continue with this show, how to prepare for 2025, to start 2025. And regarding our model, I am resilience. We're going to start, like, give a summary. How can I prepare to start? What are the areas in the model that I can review to start like a champion?
Yes. We have talked about the model, and if you have listened to the other shows, you will see that we are always talking about resilience if we are not calling it by name. No, we're talking about being grateful. That fits our spirit. That's spiritual resilience. If we are talking about taking care of yourself in terms of your health, we are talking about resilience, the physical part of resilience. If we are talking about being grateful, if we are talking about planning, we are talking about resilience. So for this summary that we're trying to do, and in order to prepare for next year, I would invite you to go through each of these pillars of resilience, if you will. And one is the physical part. No, physical resilience talks about how you're taking care of your body. Are you sleeping okay? Are you eating right? Are you drinking enough water? Are you taking the vitamins that you need? Are you taking care of every part of your day and how your body functions to stay healthy? Some people go without sleeping well for days and days and days, and they don't do anything about it. No? And then they start getting depressed or angry, or they can't function. So it's sitting down and looking at those patterns that you have. How many hours do you sleep? How much exercise are you doing? How are you eating? Are you eating well, or are you eating a bunch of junk food just to have something in your stomach? No, and we'll talk about it next week. No, how can you do this right? The next pillar of resilience is the emotional part, where we're talking about, am I feeling fit emotionally speaking? Am I a little depressed? Am I feeling negative all the time? Or am I staying positive? As we were saying at the beginning of the program, no? Am I looking at the bright side of things, or am I just going to the negative and all the things that are not working? Um, am I writing in that journal and saying I'm expressing gratitude? So all of those things are a part of the emotional resilience that we will talk about next week in terms of setting very specific goals. No, the other part is going to be our behavioral resilience, which really embraces all of the others. No, it's how am I behaving with myself? How am I behaving at work? What are the actions that I am performing to be a better person, to feel better? And then we also talk about, for example, spiritual resilience. We were talking about it a minute ago. Spiritual resilience talks about our values, talks about our beliefs, and very importantly, it talks about a sense of meaning. So in that list that you're writing this week, where you're making your summary of this year, is looking at the things that you did and analyzing whether or not you found a sense of meaning in them. Because sometimes we just go through the motions, right? We do things in automatic. We're not saying, I feel quite proud of what I did today. No, sometimes during a session or after our program, we go through it and we say, my God, this really worked. No, I feel very proud. And sometimes we say, well, we need to change something, or I need to add something, but we did the analysis. No, so find a sense of meaning in what you do is going to be a big focus if you accept our invitation for next year. And of course, the sociocultural part of resilience talks about my relationships with others. No, am I in balance? Am I in harmony with the people around me? Or have I set healthy boundaries? How am I dealing with my relationship with relatives, with my parents, with friends, at work? So all of those things, if you see, can be reviewed during this week. Look at the things that you're doing, the things that you're not. And next week we'll have I love this exercise that we're going to share with you. Of course, we go much more in depth when we are doing the training, no? But we're going to share it with you and help you come up with some good strategies to start the new year strong.
That's again, that's a hopeful part because we have been, I mean, everybody, I think we have been year and then the next year, and then the other year saying, we're going to do this. These are my New Year's resolutions. And I mean, February, they already went to the wind because we actually or didn't write them, or we were not really clear or what we wanted. I don't know. So that's the invitation also, that you have them there. Write them down. Next week, it will be easier for you to organize them. And with what Emilia is saying that we're going to share, it's going to be easier, because to have a plan always is easier. Maybe it doesn't come out like exactly that way, but it will be easier to, walk the path to get there. So don't miss our next episode. And as we always say, every Monday you can find a new episode in our YouTube channel, O'Neill Resilience Institute. You can find all the shows there. If you haven't seen one, or you want to review one of them, if you watch them all, just go to the channel and follow us. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We are sharing always things that have to do with the topics that we are talking. And we also have good news for next year. So don't miss out, because this is going to be exciting for all of us, I think. So don't miss it. Emilia, thank you so much.
Thank you, Yoli. Thank you, everybody, for listening, for sharing this time with us. And remember, this is your own story. You write it, you reinvent yourself. We're just here to help you write a new chapter, because this is all about you.
Yes, and we are Resilience in Action. See you next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.